Hey, welcome back everyone. My name is Maurice, beginner day trader. I'm going to be going over my day trades from yesterday's trade and today's trade, July 1st. So we're going to go over to the screen right over here on WBUY. WBUY was the first stock I traded first thing in the morning yesterday. So this stock popped up and, I waited, I gave it some time, I gave it a couple minutes. I wanted a proper pullback on the 10th second, but I really couldn't find the best entry. Ideally, one of these would have been a really good entry, but this was going up pretty quick. So, I kind of miss it a little bit. I wait till it pulls back. Next thing, I get in right here around 787, and I let this ride up all the way to the top, and I got out at 9:30. So that put me at a pretty good win for the first trade in the morning at 1:43 Monday morning. So I was like, okay, that was pretty good. And then I didn't have enough funds to retrade it again. It sunk down again, and it went up. The catalyst for this stock quote, let's see. So this was June 30th. So yesterday there was news that came out integrating Coinbase for stable coin payments. So crypto or anything related to Coinbase sometimes can go up on a really good news catalyst, but this happened to be a really good move. And then on the 1 minute, you can see here actually squeeze even higher up to 12. So if I did have enough funds, I would have retraded. I would have waited for a retrace, and what I'm looking for is, a break in the trend. So as soon as it's going down, I'm looking for this break in the trend. This is a little bit iffy. I'm not sure if this is really a far pullback. This is already like half of its move. It pulled back pretty far, and it kind of like stayed stable for a while. So when I see that, I like to go back on the 1 minute and kind of see, okay, where is this going to be headed towards? So you can see it did dip down around 7:15 or 4:15 in the morning, and then you see this view app crossover on the 1 minute chart. You see how it's red and then goes from red to green. This is the sign to really get in, because then from here, say I got in after this crossover at say maybe $10, then went up over to 12. You could really make some pretty good winners, and then from there on, you kind of see a bigger picture and where this is headed. And it did peak, double top 12.11, 12.10. So usually you see a double top like that, it's usually game over for the stock. It's going to sell off. I don't know how it did in the open, but it looks like it sold off and it went up after heavy selling, and it kind of recovered. But yeah, usually you can't bet on it. So that was the first trade of that morning. I did have enough to take a second trade. The next stock I traded was KLTO. So KLTO is the pharmaceutical stock, biotech, and then they actually had news. This is WBUY. So I'm going to go over here on stock quote, type in KLTO. So neurosciences. So what happened? So yesterday I saw the news headlines came out pretty early. So I typically don't like trading things that come out with early news, because the news has already happened. This is what happens when you trade something that's already extended. So the news came out at 2 a.m. I'm not able to trade. That's 2 a.m. my time, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard. It came up and the volume's kind of light. I mean, cheap stock float is okay, could be better. The volume's kind of light, sells off. This is early in the morning. So it went from a low of 77 cents all the way up to a high of 124. So as it's approaching the top of the hour, I'm also looking at the stock and I'm trying to see what's going on. So around 7 a.m. right here. So I see the stock go in, and my entries were not the best. So my entries for the stock was $1.12. So why did I trade this? I traded this because I wanted to see a VWAP breakout. Typically, this happens when the stock typically breaks out from here. So, and the time of the hour I traded this at was at 4:12. This was at 4:12. So I was a little bit upset with this. I'll give you the reason. So I got in at 7:12, right? This is the 10-second chart. So my entry is somewhere around here. I believe the average was around 112. So I was getting pretty high. I added and sold off, and I ended up selling. And then next thing you know, I see this squeeze up a little bit higher to 115, 116, but not really the best move. It would have been a couple, maybe $20 more. But hey, I lost $20, and I was like, what, I'm just gonna throw in the towel. This could have sunk lower. With these type of stocks, you see how it's kind of barcoding in a way, and you see how there's breaks in the volume. That's typically a sign to not trade that stock. You want to see higher volume green candles on the stock. So this did have a period where the stock would squeeze up. So when I see a stock making a volumetric squeeze or breakouts, I'm looking for breakout of this VWAP because this is a transition between the sellers and the buyers. So underneath VWAP, heavy selling, more sellers in the in the stock. When you're above the VWAP, there's more buyers than sellers. So usually it can indicate a pretty good squeeze, and I've seen the stock squeeze up pretty good from a break of this VWAP, and it just goes up. But this didn't really, do too much. And then let's see at the open. So that's the thing. You can't always bet at the open it'll be in your favor. I could have just held, and yeah, I would have made it pretty decent money, but it went up to high 139 at the open and sold off. So it is what it is. Don't waste your time. Cool. So today's trade was not the best. I fucked up. So I traded NIVF. I've seen NIVF come up, on the scanners multiple times, and it's Chinese stock. So I'm like, I'm not sure. And one thing I should have noticed is that I was tired today. Today when I was trading, I was a little tired, so I should have been cautious. But I took a started trade. I saw it squeeze up. I took a started trade around here, and then ended up selling off. I sell off for a loss of $40. I'm like, okay, I'm down 40 for the day. And I was a little tired, so I wanted to just kind of get out and just go to sleep. So when I feel that way, I should take a step back and just be patient for the next stock that comes along the way. And honestly, I see it squeeze and I'm getting FOMO. So I'm already hijacked emotionally. I get in right here. My average is around 189. I'm thinking that this is going to squeeze up. And what was the news catalyst for the stock today? The news catalyst was subsidiary strategies of UAE land and begin exploration of potential real-world asset tokenization. So I think they've put this news out before. I should look at it. If I'm not sure, I should take a look at it and see a bit more detail. Okay, this is a good catalyst, but in my mind, I only saw the technical part. The only fundamental part that you're looking at when it comes to day trading, at least the way I trade, you're looking at the news too. And Hong Kong, I should have stayed away from it. I have fucked up, really I did. And it just sold off, and I'm really slow in the morning. So I'm just like looking at this, I'm like, damn, I effed up. And I just sell out around 130. So this is my loss for the day. 265 plus the 40 that I lost, $300. It was around 306, 305 that I lost for the day. And I'm glad I just sold off, before it went worse. I mean, ideally, as soon as it sank right here, as soon as it sinks under that VWAP, you need to set up like a stop loss. And the way Ross trades, he does set up a stop loss. So if I go over here, if I'm up at 189, he uses a candle. So he'll use perhaps this candle as a stop loss. As soon as it goes under there, just get out immediately, because I didn't do that. I waited. I thought it would kind of rally up like it would here. In my mind, when I saw this start to rally back up, I got FOMO and I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. And I was kind of pissed. So I was thinking the same would happen, but no. Of course, when I get in, it doesn't happen. So it's okay. I know we had a really great month. Not a good start to the month, but hey, this is the beauty of day trading. You will win or lose as long as you just limit your losses. I hope this is the only loss I could take for this month. And I know it was big beginning of the month. We still have time, so I'm not worried. My account's still pretty good. And I know I have big potential to make much more, but I can't get greedy. Just gotta, start off with a slow. Start off with an initial position of 100 shares. That was the goal. Starting off with an initial position of 100 shares, getting a base hit from that, and then getting myself warmed up before I take on bigger positions. And if not, if all I got to do is take base hits, that's all I'm going to do. But if, especially if it's Chinese stock, I better just stay away from it. Chinese stocks usually don't go in my favor. Got to stay away from it. But that's all from today. Hopefully you guys found this insightful. Thank you.